Justin, but we haven't done a whole lot of post-vote reaction on the A's in the stadium. I don't believe we're mature enough to bring on a special guest yet. There's a lot of lingering anger. So I was just asking about Steve Yeager, and I'm like, we got to wait on that one for a little while. And a lot of it, we talked about it for weeks and weeks. A lot of it was we don't hate baseball. We don't hate the idea of a stadium. We don't hate the idea of bringing baseball here. We wanted an expansion team, an owner we could trust. I trust the Rays and their organization more. I heard this morning over on Raider Nation Radio 920, and maybe I'm way off on this. This was Willie Ramirez was on, and Vinny, one of the football insiders on the station and works with Adam over at the paper, was talking about the A's and the trust level.
Don't you think Lombardo sat them down and said, "Look, we're sticking our neck out here for you. You have to come here and start acting like a big league team."
100%.
Oh, I mean, I don't doubt.
You are in, we'll say, politics. You are a public servant. Do conversations like that happen where Lombardo would talk to John Fisher and go, "Hey, if we give you this money, you got to try to compete"?
Yes, I believe conversations like that happen. Do I know if it happened in this case? No, but I would be shocked if it didn't happen, right? Like if hey, if we're going to do this, I need a commitment from you. But to Senator Ira Hansen asked the great question is like, why should we believe that you're going to treat our community any better than you're treating Oakland right now? In different words, but that's where his line of attack was. I'll go further than what you introed this by saying is this. I think the deal in black and white, the paper, the public contribution here is a good deal. They did a good job. I mean, so much of that money gets paid back. Most of it's a loan. The actual out of pocket is like $155. It's not bad. That's really good for a $1.5 billion stadium that our stadium authority has.
There's that, but you just mentioned my issue.
Yeah, but wait. But huge but. It's what team we're doing it for that I just can't get on board for.
That's not me. The number that you just threw out is the one that is bothered me consistently, and I've still not heard an answer on.
Okay.
I do not believe the A's are actually contributing what they're saying they're contributing. I don't think it's going to come close to what they said. I think first of all, I know they're doing this. They're counting the free land that they got. Hey, that's our contribution, which is preposterous. If you actually sold it as, it's going to end up being a $900 million, $850 million stadium, and we're paying half of it now, I don't think it would have got the same treatment. I think people would have said, wait, what is that? I don't believe they're contributing that much money.
Yeah.
Tell us we want to see the check, and whatever less than $1.1 billion that you're paying, we're taking that off of our deal too. Because I don't believe that they're spending that much money on the stadium.
I think you're probably right. But even that being said, again, you're not getting Major League Baseball without a public contribution. They're not doing it. Like, we know that. So whether it was an expansion team or not, there had to be a public component to it, right? A public component of 155 is pretty dang good.
I don't disagree with you on that.
That's where I'm at. I think our legislators actually did a good job of putting the screws to the deal itself. I just don't like what they were dealing for. Now, the reality is if we got an expansion team, I think we would probably have to contribute more. But I also would have been willing to contribute more to get an expansion, because the whole thing that was lost in the conversation to me, and nobody really went to it, and it's a perfect example because the Golden Knights just won the Cup, is, okay, everybody who's on board is saying this is a good financial deal. It'll put heads in beds. We're going to increase tourism. It's going to pay for itself, and then some. We're going to get some tax surplus as a result of all the people that are going to come in town to watch these games, which has some fuzzy math to it, but let's assume that that's true. Would we feel the same about our community today and what Las Vegas represents today if the Golden Knights didn't have a Stanley Cup, didn't have a winning season, and anytime you went to a game, it was 80% visitor fans? Would we feel the same about ourselves? I think the answer is no, we wouldn't. I think VGK and what they did and how they won and bringing the Cup here changed the way the city thinks about itself. And I want more of that, not less. And if the A's are banking on 80% or 50% or whatever percent, more than than not of visitorship, and that's the justifiable basis for us contributing money, I don't want any part of that. That doesn't further the civic goals that I have in spending tax dollars. But, I didn't run again, so I don't get a vote.
I guess to the same point, would you rather see full of visiting fans or half empty, which is what we're going to see?
Oh, right. I mean, I don't know because if I don't know. I mean, I don't want us as taxpayers to have the burden. So I want tickets to sell.
We will.
So I guess I'd take a full touristy stadium, I guess, because we're already in the deal.
Yeah.
But you're giving me two options, neither of which I want.
Right.
Sure. Which is why I don't want the deal.
Sure.
Explain that taxpayer part more that Adam just mentioned.
Oh, well,
we're gonna have to make up for what?
If the tax revenue generated at the ballpark, sales tax, live entertainment tax does not meet the payment thresholds on our bonds, then it comes from the general fund. That's us.
And the proposal of what they expect is silly.
Yes,
it's silly.
I agree.
And I
sellouts every year for the next 20 years.
Right. And if you look at people that break down attendance, and they point out very rightfully, you don't look at average attendance in these stadiums because so many stadiums around MLB will have like 20,000, 50,000.
Yep.
That's how you get to your average number of around 33, 34. You're like, well, 33, 34, we only have 30,000. We're going to no. You can't get more than 30,000 if your capacity is 30,000.
Yep.
So that means you can't have those big numbers to offset the little numbers.
That's right.
That's obvious to anybody who would take 1 second to think about it.
Yep.
And I don't feel like that was done. So, like, again,
I think Senator Harris did that. I think she went down that road with them and basically said, hey, if right off year one, if you miss one game of being a sellout, we're behind.
Yeah.
And we'll never catch up because you've projected a sellout every game for 20 years. So it just takes one game, and now we're behind. We'll never catch up.
Right.
And, they admitted to that, But like I said, it was you and I, we had conversations on air and off air. It was a done deal as it got started. We already knew it was going to happen. So, I mean, from that perspective, I think I have to be pleased with the deal that we ended up having shoved down our throats as opposed to what it started at, which is $500 million and no protections whatsoever, no stadium authority, no government land, right? But still tax exemptions. Because if they got to tax exempt the property tax and they owned the land and then later got to flip it, that would have been worse.